Hello. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are looking at our petty revenge. Listen, the last two videos were really heavy. Just as a warning, if you decide to go look at those, if you already haven't, that they were some heavy ones. So we're gonna take a break with our petty revenge, because petty to me implies it's not as serious. It's a little. Maybe I'll get a little goof and a gag out of it, you know? So we'll see. Never really browsed the subreddit before, so yeah. First up, my neighbor kept parking in my driveway, so I parked behind him and went out of town. Fair, I assume. Okay. My neighbor's been parking in my driveway for months. I've asked him not to do a bunch of times, but he always goes, "It's just for a sec," and shrugs it off. Came home last night and yep, there he was again. Only thing was, I was heading out of town for the weekend. So I pulled in behind him, locked up, grabbed my stuff, and left for a couple hours. I had a bunch of missed calls and a text like, "Dude, WTF?" But I didn't answer it. I hope he had a relaxing weekend to think things through. Yes. No, that's so deserved. Because how is he in your Where's his driveway? Why? I'm so confused. Is his driveway occupied? He's your neighbor, right? But yeah, no, if you, like, I can get, like, it shouldn't happen, but I would definitely be like, okay, it happens once. If that's the only time, let it go. But if it happens multiple times and after you say, "Hey, don't do that," I'd appreciate if you didn't do that. And they still do it. What he deserves. That is so good, actually. That's such good petty revenge. I'm so glad you didn't answer like any of the phone calls or texts. I'm so curious. Actually, let me say this. When I was living with my mother, we did have a neighbor that would do that. Well, no, it was like their family or friends that would occasionally come over. And, you know, I wasn't really driving at the time. It was always my mother's like car parked in front of our house. And every single time they would come over, they would park right behind my mother. They would choose not to block in their, like, the people they were visiting, just always my mother because they were the closest. And again, first couple times, see, my mother was we're the same in the sense, like, you want to like let things go, but at the same time you're like, I would really like to talk to them about this type of thing. And so she did let it go the first couple times, but I think the next time she saw the neighbor, she's like, "Hey, yeah, could you please not do that? What if we have an emergency and need to like get out?" Because that's true. Like, if that's the only car in the family and you have this random person blocking you and you don't know how to get in contact with them, what are you supposed to do? Like, there's literally no other way out. I think after that, they did stop doing. No, I think it did happen one more time, but after that, they stopped doing it, which was nice. But I will say, as much as I do like this idea of petty revenge and like confronting people, this is me. I'm an overthinker. You'll find I overthink a lot, but I do think since times are crazy, it's something to be considered. But sometimes you will meet certain people that are doing you wrong, have done you wrong, and when you talk to them about it, they get defensive or even upset. The best thing I can think of right now is like road rage. Like, road rage has always happened, but now, at least in America, there have been a lot of cases of people pulling out a gun. It's not funny. I'm uncomfortable. Again, I laugh when I'm uncomfortable. They will get angry, even though if they're in the wrong or not, and they pull out a gun and shoot into the car. So the reason I bring it up here is because what if they decided to take offense to that instead of being like told what to do or told that, "Hey, that's kind of wrong to do. Can you not do that?" And now they like either live right next to you or know where you live type of thing. You feel me? Like, I would also be kind of scared to like some random car because they're like, "Oh, the owners of this place probably did it." You know what I'm saying? Sorry, I feel like it's to be considered. I'm done yapping. Okay, let's read a comment or two. I did this once. My drive-through and my neighbor's drive-through are adjoining, and there is a fence that goes down the length of the driveway to separate them. They were having a party on Saturday, which never bothers me. What did bother me was a couple of their guests had parked in my driveway. Yep. I asked the neighbors to have them move when I came home. I was met with a "I don't have to" from the owners of the car, so I parked behind. Hours later, I heard the knocking, I heard the doorbell, I heard the banging, but I didn't answer the door. Knocking started around 11 a.m. the next day. I answered. They asked me to move my car. I said I don't have to and shut the door. It was holiday weekend too, Memorial Day last year, and I was off work until Tuesday. I didn't leave my house until then. This was Memorial Day weekend that they had the same party, only different is no one parked in my driveway. Oh my god. See, I love that, but again, what if they just decided to key your car or something? Like minor, but also would cause you a headache, and now your car would look bad. Again, I guess it's just what ifs, but as like a story that's really funny. I'm not gonna lie, because the audacity to say I don't have to, that's your driveway. That's crazy. See, this is what I mean. People doing wrong and acting uppity. Crazy. Someone said, honestly, when I read stories like this, I'm just astounded that anyone would answer that way. Exactly. I get that they might be unclear on who owns the driveway, but after, "Excuse me, you're on my half of the driveway, would you please move?" The correct response should be, "Oh, sorry, dude, I'll get my keys." What makes someone disrespect the property owner that way? Yeah, because what? This is what I mean. They're weird. People are weird. Okay. They're usually pathetic losers whose lives are completely out of their control because of their lack of effort success, so they make these vain attempts at some semblance of control to appease their fragile egos. You see it all the time on the road. Someone driving like who thinks they're the most important car. Chances are good it's a miserable loser in life. Generally the well-adjusted, kind, and successful people aren't driving like lunatics, likely because they have too much to lose. People don't like to hear that because it's an uncomfortable look in the mirror, but hello, Lamau even. America, the land of fuck you, I got mine. Yeah, very individualistic here. I will say that. Yeah, that was a funny story. That's really funny. Next one. All right. Neighbor let his dog poop on my lawn daily, so I launched a neighborhood smear campaign. Literally and figuratively. Oh, this is gonna be a doozy. Okay. This happened a couple years ago when I bought my first home in a chill little neighborhood. Everything was great except for one thing. My back neighbor, Rick. Rick's the type of guy who owns 2 grills but no shirt, drinks Coors Light in the driveway at 10 a.m. and thinks property lines are just a suggestion. I already don't like Rick. Okay. Don't like him. Rick also had this massive golden retriever named Duke. Duke was cool, friendly, but had a specific habit. He loved to drop the nastiest logs right in the middle of my lawn. Not near the sidewalk, not behind a tree, dead center, like it was his sacred spot every damn day. First couple of times I figured Rick didn't realize it, so I walked over super polite and asked if he could maybe keep Duke on a leash or at least scoop up the poop when it happened. Rick, wearing a tank top that said Weekend Warrior, looks me dead in the eye and goes, "It's all nature, bro. You don't own the earth." Ooh. Oh, we're doing that. So I tried the normal stuff, patched the fence, put in a motion activated sprinkler, even tried some citrus deterrent. Nothing worked. Rick actually laughed when he saw the sprinkler and said, "Nice try, but Duke's built different." Cool. I'm built different too. Here's where the revenge starts. I started collecting Duke's turds in a Home Depot bucket. lined it with a trash bag, then used a scoop and added a little water for aesthetic reasons. Oh, okay. After about 2 weeks, I'm sorry. I really hope you guys are not eating. I didn't even think about that. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, after about 2 weeks, I had something that looked like a cursed soap. On Saturday morning while Rick was out, I took that bucket and painted the border of his yard, sprinkled it like fairy dust right along his desk. Or sorry, his deck. And around his precious fire pit area. He came out later that day, sniffed the air, and literally went, "What the hell is that smell?" I was sitting on my porch drinking coffee. Like, smells like nature, bro. Oh my god. Oh, just imagining that. Oh my god. Okay. But wait, it gets better. We have a neighborhood Facebook group. I started posting lost dog poop updates every time Duke hit my yard. Found steaming hot dog present near my mouth. Sorry, this site, it's getting to me. Okay, sorry. Found steaming hot dog present near my mailbox. If it belongs to you, please collect your property before it fossilizes. Thanks. Then I started putting up tiny little "don't poop here" signs. Oh, sorry, "do not poop here" signs. Made out of popsicle sticks and toothpicks, complete with glitter and googly eyes all over the lawn. I made them in weird passive-aggressive haiku form. Dear Duke the Pooper, this is not your golden throne. My grass feels betrayed. Rick was not amused. He actually stormed over one day and yelled, "Are you trying to make me look bad?" I just blinked and said, "Buddy, I don't need to try." After all that, the neighborhood fully turned on him. A couple of other people came forward and said Duke had been leaving surprises in their yards too. Rick ended up having to build an actual fenced-in dog run and started walking Duke on a leash like a normal human being. And me, I still make those haiku signs for fun. TLDR, neighbor let his dog use my lawn as his toilet. I turned it into a public shaming campaign with poop-themed art and passive-aggressive poetry. He now walks his dog like a responsible adult. Victory smells like fresh-cut grass and not dog crap. Edit. Some offended Ricks are shitting the comments. Edit 2. Someone slid into my DMs requesting pics. Do you like dog shit? Oh my god. What? That is crazy. Also, I don't know if this is actually like a law or anything, but aren't people supposed to keep dogs on a leash when like walking and out and about? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I know in our neighborhood, someone, I don't know if they still do it, but someone had like 3 big ass dogs and they would never ever have them on a leash. And mind you, and I'm not saying here that, oh, we need to be worried about any and every dog, but it's just the fact you don't know. And how are you going to control them if they're not on a leash, right? And there's kids in the neighborhood. So obviously people started complaining, I think to HOA. They reported them to somebody. And eventually that person did start putting them on their leash, as they should, in my opinion. But yeah, no. Pick up your dog shit. If you want to leave it on your lawn, go for it. But like someone else's, like, that's so disrespectful. It's just nature, bro. Like, what do you mean? You're crazy. Let's look at a couple comments. I had a neighbor that did this. After repeatedly asking them to politely keep their dog out of my yard, I started picking up the poop, putting it in a bag, and leaving it in their driveway. They still didn't change. I left the bag on their front porch, still no change. I finally started throwing it from my shovel all over their front yard. Think of a bunch of shit confetti in the grass, flower beds, and on the siding, you name it. It finally stopped. Like, just don't have a dog at that point. Like, just be respectful. Because it's not hard. It's really not. This happened with my husband too. We used to rent the top floor of a house, and the basement tenants were always a bit sketchy. The one who ended up being a deal breaker for us had a pit bull he kept tied on a short rope in our front yard all the time. It was a super sweet dog, and I felt awful for him, but for my husband, it was more than the neglect. Buddy never walked his dog, and my husband, who used to work at a golf course in his 20s, is serious about his lawn. He's meticulous. He takes pride in his edging and his lines, and this poor dog was not only wearing a bald circle in the middle of the lawn from pacing, but Buddy never picked up the poo. My husband, a couple of times, knocked downstairs and told Buddy he wanted to mow and come clean up. And Buddy said, just mulch it in. Ugh. And shut the door in his face. Finally, my husband was so mad he took a grain shovel, scooped it all up bit by bit, throwing it all down Buddy's back steps into his little cement entryway and all over his back door. He came inside fuming, called our landlord, and put it in our notice. I never got to hear Buddy's reaction, but I wish I was watching when he got home. Oh yeah, that poor dog. I don't like when people have dogs too and they just keep it outside the whole time. Maybe a hot take, but I don't think animals deserve to be outside all the time. Yeah, that's a crazy story. It did make me a little sick though, but it was funny. Good revenge. Oh, this one's a short one. My boyfriend would never tell me when he'd be home. He was in a financial planning, so he had no set hours, but he would just wouldn't tell me, 25-ish at the time, if he was going to be home at 5 or 9, despite my asking for a heads up, so I just wouldn't worry. Months go by, nothing changes. This is everyone had a cell. He had a car phone. I set up a poker game with my friends, told my mom my plan because she is a hysterical worrier, and if he called her, I didn't want her to freak out. Didn't leave a note. I went to my friend's place to play cards and came into her apartment at around 4 a.m. He had gone to bed but couldn't sleep. He asked where I was. Me, playing cards with friends. Him, why didn't you call me? Me, was I supposed to? I didn't think it was necessary. You never called me. The problem stopped. Nice, short and simple. I'm gonna be real. I'm a hysterical worrier, okay? If you are dating me, if we are, I actually even did it with my mother. Like if she went out, because I think people don't understand that it is a blessing. I don't know a better word for it, to get home, to and fro wherever you're going safely. Okay, you just don't know. Like, what if something happens and I don't have your location or know what you're doing or what areas you're around to check, type of thing. Again, in case something happens. Like, I really do wish people would understand that, because that type of like worry and fear comes just from a place of concern. And if you are a partner and your partner wants you to do that, why not? I know it's a little bit more simplified nowadays because we do have I don't have an Apple that I use for like my day-to-day life, but you can share locations and that takes away from it a bit. But yeah, just staying in touch, letting people know where you are and what you're doing, not bad. I'm sure people appreciate it. Please consider it if you don't already do it. I guess if it's very important to them. Okay, anyway. Comments. Oh God. Okay. Just a warning. Little rough comment, but my mom's dad got killed returning home from work in a hurricane when she was 12. Years later, shortly after she and my dad got married, my dad went to a friend's place to return something he had borrowed. Got distracted, talked to his friend in his garage, and a half-hour trip turned into several hours. When he got home, my mom was in hysterics, sobbing her eyes out and asking where he was. He'd been calling, but because my dad and his friend had been outside, they hadn't heard the phone ring. He told her saying I was always going to come home, and she snapped and said my dad never came home. Dad told me that moment he felt about the guiltiest he had ever felt in his life. He always called when he was going to be late after that. Oh, see, that's what I mean. You just don't know. That is so sad. I feel for her. Someone else said, I had a version of this chat with my now fiance. My dad did come home, but he spent 5 hours laying in a field after his farm accident, probably wondering whether he would. I was 17, so I remember that night very clearly. My partner has gotten much better at alerting me as to his movements and understands when I need to make a life change. Oh, man. Man, I feel lucky that my boyfriend is always open with where he goes and when he will be back. I couldn't imagine begging my partner for that small of a courtesy that to me is a given. Yeah. Yeah. You just really don't know. All right. I think that's enough for now. That was a nice little break. I don't know what the next video entails. I don't know what subreddit will be going on, but yeah. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have an amazing day. Bye.